I have gotten a lot of requests to do a Guardian tanking, right, Guardian building video, and since I am main a Guardian, I'm going to show you two builds. I like to tank using the damage to get aggro, right? So I don't really use the force taunts unless I have to, which is one way to do it. And I'm going to show you that second. This is kind of the general, quote-unquote easy mode, maybe. A little bit more tanky than my build, actually. This one that I'm going to show you first. So let's look. I'll look at the trait tree first. So this is my raid tank build. So I got Guardian's Ward, reduced skill power, Guardian's Pledge, Guardian's Ward tactics, right? Give you that extra mitigation, so you can always keep that Guardian's Ward up and just not waste all your power. You want extra block chance. You also want the parry chance from Redline, because block and parry is very important in tanking. I got the 5% incoming heal. I have this just because I have to put a point into something, unfortunately. You get your War Chant, minus 5% damage, and lower your cooldown. Notice I only have 4 into here, and there's just the specific reason is because if you have 4 in here, in your War Chant Demoralizing Anthem, that will make it the same range if you have 5 points into Bellow as Challenge. See right there, 14.2? Oh, actually, 18.2. It'll make it close enough. So then I got for my crit defense, it doesn't actually do that block response skill, so increase your mitigation to 100%. That's a glitch. Apparently, someone put that in there, typed that in there. They need to fix that, and they know about it. But then you get your redirect, right? And then you got, I made it 15%, right? You can take some of these points out, probably take out one of these points in Demoralizing Anthem and put this point here into your Absorb. So you have 20% Absorb and Reflect. Or sorry, yeah, 20%. Pretty much, that's what you do. I got my point into Smashing Stab simply because starting a Fellowship maneuver can be extremely useful. I specifically do not have points into Reversal, right? If you really like Reversal, go for it. I have my Stoic Bubble, right? Stoic Bubble. Then I have Juggernaut. I specifically don't have Break Ranks because that's just damage. And, I don't have Shield Smash, and so you don't want either of those for really, really tanky builds, because you want to just keep that 10% mitts from fortification. And the virtues, right? I like Justice, but some, you might want to put Fidelity instead. So what I have here, actually, I'll just switch the Fortitude with that. So there we go. So we got Empathy, well, we got Fortitude, Empathy, Fidelity, Honor, and Tolerance, right? So the Tolerance and the Fidelity are going to give you a lot of tactical mitigation, which you need, like, everywhere. Honor and Fortitude are going to give you a bunch of max morale, and then the Empathy is going to raise your armor value, resist, and crit defense, which is pretty much what you want for a tank. You don't want to die, right? This is going to keep you alive pretty well. If you really want, right, this is the most important, right? And I'm a man Guardian. You can be whatever class, it doesn't really matter. They all have their nice bonuses. So to tank, generally people are going to be like, hey, just use your force taunts, right? You got Fray the Edge, which is a force taunt. You have Engage, which is a force taunt. You have Challenge, which is your other force taunt, which is cool. As you can see, right? I call these my oh shit skills, right? You got your Sprint. You got your Ignore the Pain, remove your diseases and stuff. your war chant, right? You're going to use it kind of as an extra taunt. You got your full heal and bubble. You have your juggernaut, which is basically another full heal. And then you have Guardian's Pledge, which is... I just accidentally clicked it. Which is not really a full heal, but to me, I say it's like a keep your health the way it is. Then you have Thrill the Danger, which is another one of those keep your health the way it is. It is not, your health's basically not going to go down while you have it activated, which is really good. Then you got Litany Defiance, which I almost never use unless my group is going to take a lot of damage and I got that full stacks. Right? I'm never going to use it to, like, it's not a force taunt. All it does is raise your aggro. It is not a force taunt. Do not use it as one. Challenge is a force taunt. Fray the Edge is a force taunt, and Engage is a force taunt. Then you might see Shield Taunt. Shield Taunt is also not a force taunt. It does increase your threat. So generally what you're going to do is Shield Blow, right, and then Shield Swipe, and then Shield Taunt. Anymore. War Chant also increases your threat. Alright, watch this. Watch over his head. There should be an arrow that pops up. You see that red arrow? That means you've increased threat. So I'll show you, right? Shield Taunt will increase your threat. Shield Smash, if you have that skill, will also do it. But see, there you go. Just kind of mess around with those skills, right? See them as they go. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to aggro everything in here because some people have questions about, like, oh, what do you do when you have a bunch of NPCs on you? Well, here's a bunch of NPCs. Right, so this is how I keep them on. Generally, I'm going to use War Chant. Right, to heal, you use your Catch a Breath. Right, so then you get all your NPCs on you, and you're like, ah, what the heck? Right, so, I kind of have a high enough block rating when I have my Guardian Ward tactics up that I won't take any damage. But generally, people are going to take more damage, so usually when I get just below half health, I pop Juggernaut, which sets your block rating to 100%. You're going to heal. You're going to heal all the way up from that. There's my Reflect. Right, so there, I'm going to keep spamming Shield Taunt. Right, so now I got my 5 fortification buffs, so I have my extra mitts. So, I know this is probably like the worst way, because I'm like super geared out. But that's generally, you know, like that's kind of, you're going to take some damage, and then you're going to pop Guardian's Pledge, which gives you plus 50% evade and parry. If you got your 20% block parry evade, right, that's 70%, right? Let's look at that. 67%, 68%, base, you know, 70% block parry. Right there, because of that. Which is great. If you lose aggro on NPCs because your aggro gains aren't working, right? Because your Shield Taunt and your War Chant's not working on keeping it, and your 2 single target ones aren't working, you can throw Challenge, right? Challenge exists. That's when you're going to want to use your Force Taunts. You don't want to use it to start off a fight. You want to use them when you lose aggro and they start to attack other people. So then we got, right, Thrill the Danger, right? That's just going to keep you from dying for 10 seconds. Right, that's just going to heal you as you get hit. As you can see, all the little heals popping up from the blocks and from the 1200, right? That's 2.5% of my health. All those 1200 hits, that's from Thrill the Danger. So, and yeah, this Guardian build is quite a bit slower. right? And it's just for tanking. This is pure tanking, right? You're gonna sit here and you're gonna tank and tank and tank, right? I recommend probably at least 400,000 morale, right? If you're current endgame, which I mean I don't even have that, but I don't have all the raid gear, so. But there'll be people like Captain with Captain buff, right? You'll have 600,000. Right, and when you get low, you got your Warrior's Heart, which is boom, a full heal, plus another, like, basically half heal with your 146k bubble. And as you can see, like, my cooldowns are, you know, basically coming off. I like to use Juggernaut first and the full heal last because Juggernaut has the longest cooldown. And that's very important. Your War Chant will also lower the cooldown, as you can see, of Catch a Breath. So if you can use War Chant whenever you possibly can. If you have all 5 points into that War Chant thing, you will be able to, it will be 5 seconds instead of 4 seconds, which is, you know, a big difference when you use the skill 5 times. But it ends up having, and making Catch a Breath be I think a 15-second cooldown instead of a 40-second cooldown. Or instead of a 43-second cooldown, yeah, it's like 18 seconds because you can use War Chant 3 times. And it also lowers the cooldown of redirect, so you can be reflecting and negating 15, 20, 30% of your damage every 10 seconds, or every 20 seconds. So every 10 seconds you got 20% of basically extra bits. And reflect, as you can see they're reflecting. And if you do see those arrows, right, they get bigger the more aggro that you're getting, right? See how it's like just bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is how Warden tanks too, right? I can make a Warden video as well, but I'm not like that good at Warden. This is how Warden tanks too. You just aggro, and you use your Force Taunt in case of emergency when you lose the aggro. You do not want to ever start off a fight with your big area of effect Force Taunt. But once you get your fortification up, it doesn't matter. Right? Once you get your bolster up, don't be using Sting. Because then you can just sit here with your super nice, just everything. And you're not going to die. You're just going to sit there and you're going to just exist. Right? You just got to, all you got to do is keep the aggro. If you're interested in animation cancels, you got 3 of them. Well, actually 4, but turn to tables. You have Ignore the Pain. You have Catch a Breath. And you also have Stamp. Being shot by a black arrow. So, I'm going to talk about Legacies, right? I don't have them on my LI because I don't have that set of allies quite yet. I'm working on them, but I don't have it quite yet. But what you're going to want is Adaptability, Block, and Parry, Catch a Breath cooldown, and Morale heal, right? So that'll make this heal 30% instead of 20%, and you can use it every, basically 18 seconds. Or every 20 seconds if you're using your War Chant, right, to heal as an animation cancel, whatever, right? You're gonna want your Force Taunt duration and Shield Blow damage, which is this is Shield Blow, boom. It'll make your Force Taunts last 10 seconds instead of 5, which is awesome. You're probably gonna want Guardian's Ward block rating. I honestly think that the parry rating is not as needed, mostly because everything on Guardian is block. As you can see, I have 100,000 more block than I do parry, and it's only a 1%, like 1.3% difference. which is not huge, but like you heal when you block. You heal 2% when you block. I think it's 2%. No, it's like 0.5%. You heal when you block, so you're gonna want that. You're gonna want block over parry. And yeah, you could have both, but the next thing you're gonna want is, let's see what I wrote it down. Stoic Bubble, Guardian's Pledge, Magnitude, and Shield Swipe damage. Those are two of them, right? So that's how that you get such a huge bubble from Warrior's Heart. And the Guardian Pledge Magnitude, normally it would be 20%. Well, with the Legacy, it's 58%. So that's how you get that 70% block parry evade. And then the last one is pretty obvious, the Warrior's Heart heal, because otherwise it heals like 20% of your health, I think. And you'll see Guardians that don't have the Legacy maxed out, and they like heal like half of their health, and you're like, what the hell? So there's that. Like, that's gonna be your belt, and then your weapon is, you're gonna want on your weapon, I have it written down here, Shield Swipe Crit, because just Shield Swipe is just one of your skills that you're always gonna use. You have to use it in both sets if you want to use that shield taunt. And like, just having it do a little bit more damage is helpful, especially if it's got that crit rating. Then that's a chance to build up your fortification buff. Guardian Pledge cooldown and retaliation damage, right? So you get your retaliation and whirling retaliation that will increase both the damage for those, which is good, but you really only want to use retaliation to get redirect. Like to use redirect, at least in this build. You want your stamp cooldown because this is an animation cancel and does damage. And it's also an interrupt, so that's all very, very good to have. Then your turn to tables cooldown and damage, right? Make that 30 seconds instead of, or make that 30 seconds instead of 1 minute. And it also will make it do like double the damage, which is, I mean, I don't know how much 20,000. 20,000 is not a lot, so. And then finally, you want your Warrior's Heart max morale. So you might have noticed it says 10% max morale. Well, with that buff, it's going to give you, what is it? Max morale. It's going to give you an additional 55% basically max morale, which is really good. So I'm letting these guys respawn. I'm going to switch to my damage tank build. That's what I call it, my PvMP tank. So as you can see, I do not have that Tireless Defender. I have Relentless Assault to get a block and parry response from Sting. I have my block chance, Guardian's Pledge. I have Shield Smash. I have Follow Through, which will make it more area of effect. You know, Bellow again. Smashing Stab. I have 1 point into Shield Spikes just because. I've got my Disorientation. I've got my Bubble. I've got my Warrior's Fortitude for those partials. I've got Juggernaut, and I have Break Rex because I'm more damage, and it gains a 5% extra damage. Don't have any points into here. I've got points into Insult Injury again. I have plus incoming healing. War Chant, completely maxed out. Bolster, once again, our Numb Senses. Strong Burst, area of effect damage, plus 20%. Redirect, and then 2 points on that, so I have 20%. Reflect and Absorb, right? So this is my damage tank build. And as you can see, it's minus 5 seconds instead of minus 4. My virtues are basically the same, right? I've got Fidelity, I've got Honor, I've got Fortitude. I have Justice, because in-combat morale is awesome. Also gives you tactical mitigation and max morale. And Tolerance. The other build had Empathy instead of Justice. So I like in-combat morale regen. So you'll see me, I'll put Fate on my characters, right? Because that in-combat regen is amazing. Especially once you get to like 30, 40,000 without food. And then you pop one of these. 100,000 food every minute. Or I mean 100,000 morale every minute is going to make your healers very happy. But I think only Fate is probably better on like as a last sort of thing, once you've hit your 400,000 morale, once you've maxed out your mitigations. Right, as you can see, I don't have my mitigations maxed yet, right? Not even close. My block, my parry's a little bit lower, right? But I need the block more. I do have a little bit higher physical mastery and damage. So let's see. Yep, okay, these guys are respawned. So I usually have all the buffs and all that crap, right? But I do not today. As we just did a bunch of raids. So I'm just going to run straight in here and show you how I like to tank generally. The first build is the... oh, they're not done respawning. Oh yeah, because it took 37 years for them. To die. I'll just hang out in the middle of this room. But watch this. Alright, so you got your increased aggro gain, and Shield Smash is going to increase your aggro. Boom, see all those arrows? And it stuns them, and it gets 7 of them. Alright, so you got that. You got your redirect, your reflect. Alright, so there we go. Shield blow, shield swipe, bash, shield smash. That's what I like to do. I like to, like, for lots of NPCs, it'll stun them. And, like, I haven't used a single, like, actual taunt. Obviously, there's no other players here that could take the aggro off of me. So that's something to take into account when kind of watching this. Keep in mind, if you're used to play this game, Vexing Blow used to be an aggro game, but now it is not. It's just an area of effect skill. But since I have all this extra area of effect damage, like, I do quite a bit, as you can see by everybody basically dying really quickly. Much quicker, actually. So we got our 5 shield stacks, we got our 5 fortification. Right, so we're gonna watch this, watch for a big hit. You see 40, 40, 40, 40, and that's just non-crit, right? So if you get that to crit, right, that's gonna do a lot for you. So you want to raise your crit rating likely. Yeah, see 32k, 40. And so, like, it's just damage. And it's just damage tanking, which is what I like to do. Which is how, how you're going to tank on a champion, which is how you're going to tank on a warden, which is how you're going to tank on a Bjorning, and you can also do it that way on a captain. But captains have a little bit more force taunts, even though it's still only 5-second force taunt, right? You're really going to only want to use those. You're really only going to want to use those on, like I said, when the NPC runs away and starts going after somebody else. So that's pretty much that. And I'll show you my legacies for this after we kill these guys. So here's my sword, right? So we got our Guardian's Pledge cooldown, right? We have bash damage, area of effect skill damage, right? So another 70% area of effect, sweeping cut crit rating, stamp cooldown, sweeping cut damage, Warder's Heart, max morale. Then we have our shield damage, shield smash damage. Shield smash is our big skill, right? Plus 80%, or sorry, yeah, 90% stoic bubble strength, force taunt duration, heal, our full heal, guardian pledge magnitude, applicability, block, and parry. Right? If you want to do this, right, you can also change your sweeping cut crit rating to our shield swipe crit rating. That's really up to you. You can have, if you wanted, you could put vexing blow damage, whirling retaliation damage, any of those. Turn the table cooldown if you preferred. You could, there's a lot of different things you could put instead of that sweeping cut crit rating. I just like it. Vexing Blow or Whirling Retaliation would probably be the other ones that were most useful because they're also area of effect skills for this build. So that's pretty much, the general about it, the general tips and kind of tricks, quote unquote, how to tank, how to keep your aggro, what kind of skills you need to look for, and the order in which I use my oh shit skills and the order in which I recommend you use your oh shit skills. Now there is a reason why you might want to use Warrior's Heart first, so you can get that, like, the incoming healer rating is garbage, but the physical net, the block, and the partial block. And if you happen to have your points in Warrior's Fortitude, it'll also give you more incoming heal, evade chance, and partial evade. So, and if you had it in Warrior's Fortitude for whatever reason, it'd give you extra parry. So, there's that. I hope you like the video. I hope you subscribe. I hope that this helped you. And I hope to see you in game.